how many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William.
Here we are again, to the land of trying all kinds of different things. We're talking about methylene blue. The truth is, I didn't want to have to go here. I was hoping that this biohack would just stay with the biohackers, and it didn't land in the hands of the chronically ill. But as time goes on, it lands in the hands of the chronically ill. And because it has the potential to not help the chronically ill and even hurt them in ways, I have to step up. Biohackers are people who never got that sick yet. And it's not because they're biohacking things that are helping them. Instead, it's a combination of what was passed down from generation to generation. Their parents, their grandparents, how many toxins, how many metals, how many bugs, how many pathogens. It also depends on how many pathogens they picked up along the way, how many different Epstein-Barr viruses, how many different shingle viruses, CMVs, HSV1s, 2s. That plays a role as well. All these things matter, and that determines if a biohacker is going to be healthy enough to just do what they're doing, function like they're functioning, or actually becoming somebody who's chronically sick and chronically ill. And it doesn't mean a biohacker won't get sick down the road. The scale will tip. They will get toxic. They'll pick up some bugs along the way, and they'll be chronically sick. And all their biohacks are not the answers. And they'll realize that, and realize they got something going on that's deeper, more problematic, and they can't get past it. So why am I talking about biohackers? Because they're the ones that entice the chronically ill to try things like methylene blue. And like I've always done for all these years, somebody has to be a voice to look out for the chronically ill. Just like when I exposed the alkaline ionizer water machines for leaching metals, God forbid people are drinking that water for years. The amount of metal that's going to get into their brain and bodies, it's so sad. But I can only do so much because the amount of money being poured into all of these trendy ventures is astonishing. And money is power in the health industry. And methylene blue is not taking off because it's actually healing people. So if you're somebody with chronic illness, don't get fooled by an influencer who's not chronically ill like yourself. Somebody that doesn't have neurological symptoms or problems or conditions like yourself. Somebody that's just out there who likes playing around with the blue stuff on their tongue. Because it's pretty, and a lot of people love alchemy, and it's usually biohackers. The ones that bring in the psilocybins, telling everybody to do that, which is awful for somebody who's chronically sick. It's endless, and I could go on and on and on. Certainly, I'm not going to make any new friends by talking about methylene blue. But if you're chronically sick, I got to look out for you. So get ready, fasten your seatbelt, strap yourself in. We're talking about methylene blue. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here waiting for the doctor. He's going to come in anytime soon. Oh, hey, doctor. Thank you for seeing me today. Yeah, I just don't feel good. I'm tired all the time. I have this strange vibrations in my body. I am not sleeping good. I have a ringing in my right ear and got dizzy the other day. I think I got some weird pain in my chest, but tightness in my chest, and my throat feels funny all the time, and my hands kind of tremor a little bit, and my heart seems to be racing, and that's just a few things. I'm aches and pains everywhere, and sometimes my tiredness just knocks me right down completely. And oh yeah, I have the anxiety and nervousness, and I've been like severely depressed. Oh, if I forgot, and my blurry eyes. I got blurry eyes. And that goes along with my headaches and brain fog. What am I taking? I got a list right here. Let's just get my list out. My bag. Okay, let's see. Colostrum, collagen, charcoal, bentonite clay, probiotics, chlorine dioxide, pearl powder, beta-glucans, pink salt, shilajit, fulvic minerals, fulvic acid, diatomaceous earth particles, whey protein powder, creatine, fish oil, krill oil, sodium bicarbonate. Let's see, I'm cold plunging, I'm oil pulling. Oh yeah, and something new. It's called Methylene Blue. That's actually going to be the thing that fixes me. So they say. So they say out there. Till this day, I just don't think people in the health and wellness world get it. They just don't get it. Unless they've been there. Unless they were suffering, struggling, had pain, fatigue, agony, been to 20 doctors, tried everything, been there, done that, lost their ability to work, lost their ability to feel like they can function, lost friends, lost relationships because they were too sick to keep up with them, living with multiple symptoms, sometimes 50 different symptoms and even more. And the last thing they need is some influencer or health and wellness person or some trainer or some workout person shove methylene blue in their face every minute, as if it's the holy grail, as if it's everything to do with healing, as if it's God's gift to humanity. And sure, if you got room to play, you're not sick, or you have hardly anything wrong, you could work out, you could do your thing, you could live your life, you feel good, get up in the morning, you're productive, you really don't have anything you can actually complain about with your health, do what you want. Take methylene blue. Take anything. You can just live your life and do what you want. And you can get away with it for a while until one day you're in your late 30s, early 40s, your mid 40s, and all of a sudden, bam, something just hits you. Or maybe you're heading into your mid 20s, late 20s, and whack, boom, all of a sudden you don't feel good. Something's wrong, like you're getting sick. Or maybe you're some of the lucky ones coming on 50 years old, 52, 54. You've been doing pretty good. You've been getting along pretty good. And then that's when it happens. Boom, it hits you then. The bugs get you. The pathogens get you. You got one too many bugs you collected. Your immune system dropped just enough for something to happen. Your thyroid went out of whack. Something went wrong. Your liver got stagnant and sluggish. Or maybe you just took in too many toxic heavy metals over time and your body finally got tipped over. The scale was tipped. You got overloaded and all kinds of brain problems occur. All kinds of brain symptoms, neurological symptoms. But if you're in the health and wellness world and you're playing around and you're a podcaster, you're an influencer, you're somebody selling health in one way or another, and you want to experiment with methylene blue and you want to tell everybody about it, fine. But just remember one thing. There are some sick people out there, and something like methylene blue does not work for them for a whole bunch of reasons. And the truth is, it doesn't work for anybody. Meanwhile, there's people out there now, they worry about what's in their water. They worry about what's in their food. They're looking for food chemicals. They're checking the ingredient list. Meanwhile, they'll go and take methylene blue. And there's health influencers that are screaming about a food chemical, screaming about something in water. Meanwhile, they're sitting there telling people to take methylene blue. I mean, eventually the tide can turn, and then someone realizes out there, somebody else realizes, and another person realizes. Kind of reminds me of the cold plunging. I talked about it early on at the beginning of cold plunging. I said if you're sick with chronic illness, like really sick, and you have adrenal problems, neurological symptoms, neurological conditions, and you're a woman and you have all kinds of issues and all kinds of symptoms, you're struggling, you're suffering, it's not a good idea to hop into a cold bath like that, sit there in ice. But if you're a dude, nothing's really going on, you're doing your workouts, you're living your life, you're eating pretty much what you want, sure, hop in an icy bath. But it's not for everyone. Same thing with methylene blue. You're a dude, you're into self-care, you're in the gym 3 hours a day. You can afford to put something toxic in your blood. You can experiment. You can take your time and do it. But when it comes down to the chronically ill, it's got to work. And it can't be an experiment. Because when you're really sick with chronic illness, there's no room to play. Each mistake makes things worse. Health and wellness games can be tricky ground for a lot of people who are chronically sick. And methylene blue reminds me of the mistake with chlorine dioxide. People taking bleach in their bodies, people swallowing bleach, in hopes that they're killing off some kind of parasitical infection. Many people with Lyme disease got hooked into chlorine dioxide, but it doesn't work. When it's inside the body, when you actually internally take it, it just doesn't work. Sure, a bucket of water with some amoebas in it, some other type of microbes. You can dump that stuff in there, kill it off, purify the water, but that's not how the body works. Can't just dump that inside the body and expect it to work like that. You'll never be able to consume enough of it to do what you want it to do. You won't survive it. You'll get yourself so sick, like really sick, especially if you're already sick to begin with. You're already battling chronic illness. So swallowing a bunch of chlorine dioxide won't work because you're never going to be able to swallow enough of it. Too much of it, and you'll end up killing your body at the same time you're trying to kill something inside your body that's hurting your body. But this is the kind of mentality we're talking about in health and wellness. Trendy, loosey-goosey, experimental ideas that circulate all through the health communities because people don't know why they're sick or what to do for it, end up getting the chronically ill who are fighting for their lives already even sicker. And Methylene Blue falls into that category. Unfortunately, Methylene Blue offers nothing good for the body. And I say unfortunately because anyone who takes Methylene Blue is not receiving any benefits. Now, of course, someone's going to say it's helping them, but they're not going to say everything else they're doing that's actually helping them. There's going to be enthusiasts that are so into their Methylene Blue that any benefit they get from anything else they're doing, they're just going to switch it off, that it's Methylene Blue that's doing it, especially if they're selling Methylene Blue. So what does Methylene Blue really have to offer? Nothing. It's not an electrolyte. It's electrolyteless. And that's a real scary thing when you think about it. It's electrolyteless. Why is that scary? Because it's a salt that doesn't become sodium bound when it enters the body. That means sodium doesn't exist when it enters into the human body, but yet it's a salt that's lifeless and provides no sodium chloride, a salt that provides no electrolytes, because when it enters the body, it takes electrolytes. Electrolytes bind onto it, and it robs them from the body. And that makes Methylene Blue a thief, an empty void, an energy sucker. And who cares for somebody who is actually living their life? They have no symptoms yet in their life. They have no conditions. They're working out every day. Who cares if Methylene Blue robs them of electrolytes? It doesn't matter. But if you're somebody with a neurological disease, Parkinson's, or some other condition, or just symptoms, mysterious chronic illness, neurological symptoms like fatigue, your electrolytes are critical. You need electrolytes from sources that help heal the body. You don't need an electrolyte robber taking it away from the body. Meanwhile, that's what pharmaceuticals do. Now, I'm not anti-pharmaceutical entirely. There are some pharmaceuticals that are needed, and they're critical for a lot of different people in the state that they're in, until they can find a better way, until they can heal and they're not reliant upon pharmaceuticals. But all pharmaceuticals steal and rob electrolytes. They cause dehydration on a deep level. Pharmaceuticals are not just void of electrolytes, they attach to electrolytes, rob it from the body, and then they get urinated out of the body. You lose electrolytes when you take pharmaceuticals. That's just how it works. And pharmaceuticals are bitter. That's what pharmaceuticals taste like. They taste bitter. All kinds of drugs have a bitter taste, a bitter flavor. And so does Methylene Blue. Now, the kind of bitter that Methylene Blue has, similar to what pharmaceuticals have, that bitterness is much different than lettuce. The bitterness from lettuce or a leafy green. It's an entirely different form of bitterness, or a bitterness to a dandelion root or dandelion leaf. They're two entirely different types of bitterness. There's pharmaceutical bitterness, and then there's bitterness from nature, from certain foods. Methylene Blue is not a food. It's nutrientless. Not just electrolyteless, it's nutrientless, just like a pharmaceutical, which is nutrientless. Pharmaceuticals are also mineralless, and so is Methylene Blue. It's mineralless as well. Pharmaceuticals are electrolyteless, mineralless, nutrientless. amino acid-less, vitamin-less, trace mineral-less, and so is methylene blue. It's all those things too. Not to mention methylene blue doesn't even have any phytochemical compounds. The funny thing is, advocates for methylene blue purport that there's possibly an antioxidant, but the antioxidant hasn't been identified by anyone, by science, nor anybody else. Keep in mind when biohackers love something that's edgy or addictive or mind-altering, or they think it's libido enhancing, or it's something they can get a high off of, and it's usually something that's actually bad for you. They always try to find something good in it. Does any of that sound familiar? Like ayahuasca, coffee, chocolate, wine, toad poison, frog poison, cannabis, nicotine, green tea, matcha tea, espresso, toxic mushrooms, psilocybins, of course. And I'm not judging anybody who does any of that. That's not what it is. I'm not saying you should be shamed or anything of the sort. That's not it. It's just advocates for these very things, these addictive and sometimes dangerous substances, always try to push these substances on the chronically ill, saying, hey, it's going to help you. If you have neurological problems, drink some green tea, which is the worst thing you can do for that kind of problem. And influencers and advocates for these very things are usually on these very things because they have addictions themselves. And of course, people who get charged from their addictions want other people doing it all the same because it makes them feel good when other people do it with them. No one wants to look weird at a party when no one else is eating those edibles, those psilocybins, and whatever else is in those edibles. But advocates love to say, hey, there's nutrition in these. There's antioxidants in this. These mushrooms have antioxidants in them. This espresso has antioxidants in it. This chocolate has antioxidants in it. This green tea has antioxidants in it. This weed is medicinal. It's got THC. And once again, I'm not judging anybody. That's not it. It's just a pattern. And the same falls for methylene blue. And the same cast of characters in health and wellness that loves all that other stuff I was just talking about are behind methylene blue. And if you're sitting there wondering, like, what's wrong with coffee and chocolate and all that other stuff, they're adrenal destroyers, especially if you got adrenal issues and central nervous system problems, a weakened nervous system, vagus nerve issues. Your vagus nerves are inflamed, got a lot of different symptoms and conditions. You're suffering from anxiety and other issues. But just like there's a lot of money in all of that, and the influencers and the advocates and the people in health and wellness know this, there's going to be a lot of money in methylene blue. And also has that appeal, that quality, something mystical about it. And so that same cast of characters in health and wellness that used to push psilocybins, probably still do, ayahuasca, for healthy spiritual experiences, which is actually dangerous. The same cast of characters, they're going to be pushing methylene blue. And they're going to try to find something redeeming. They're going to say it has an antioxidant. It has something, just like they say for all the other things. Green tea, matcha tea, coffee, chocolate has an antioxidant. And salt is big right now. That's another one that's in big. All you see is ads 24/7. People just drinking salt, which actually speeds up the aging process and hinders the body, injures the liver. But still, they'll say that methylene blue is a sodium. It's a salt of some kind. So people will be like, whoa, salt is good. But methylene blue is a ghost salt. It's not a salt when it enters the body. Instead, it robs and it steals critical, precious electrolytes from the brain and body. When someone takes methylene blue and they see blue on their tongue, something important to understand, those aren't anthocyanins. Those aren't nutrients. Those aren't antioxidants. Those aren't pigments that are healing. That blue is practically an optical illusion. But what it does do is it creates a psych out. That pretty blue color is mesmerizing. So it makes one think it has to be doing something for you. It's shockingly blue. The color itself can be slightly mind-altering. And that's all part of the psych out. It's not a color blue from nature. Instead, it's a chemistry blue. It's a pharmaceutical blue. And get ready for this, a dehydrating blue. Methylene blue is dehydrating on the body, but yet it's not a diuretic or a true diuretic in nature. And the more you use, the more dehydration occurs and builds up over time. If you use methylene blue on a consistent basis, it's going to lead to chronic dehydration. And chronic dehydration is the last thing someone wants when they're chronically ill. When people are chronically ill, they're already fighting chronic dehydration for a multitude of reasons. And pharmaceuticals are bitter and dehydrating. Another problem with methylene blue is that it's not bioactive. It wasn't designed or made for the human body. It doesn't get utilized, it doesn't assimilate, it's not bioactive, it's not an enzyme, it has no enzymes, it's not an amino acid, it has no amino acids. It's not a protein, it has no protein. And the scary part is it's a byproduct. It's something that somebody is looking to use, and people are going to try to bank on it. The thing is, methylene blue is a threat. It's a threat to other trends that don't work with chronic illness and people who are struggling and suffering, people who have real symptoms and actually have real conditions and problems. So methylene blue is going to split the penny on the other trends that don't work for the chronically ill either, like shilajit and fulvic minerals and fulvic acid. Those things never got anybody better who was chronically sick. It didn't fix somebody's multiple sclerosis, and either is methylene blue. Another penny made that's going to be split is the colostrum world. Colostrum never got anybody better in the last 25 years. Anybody suffering with fibro, with multiple sclerosis, with RA, with thyroid disorders, with all kinds of different symptoms and conditions. Colostrum doesn't help anybody with any of that, even though it's trending and it's big right now. It's going to have to split the penny. It's going to have to split the penny along with methylene blue now. The positive thing about methylene blue is you don't have to take the baby calf away from the mommy, so the baby calf can't get the colostrum needed to grow strong and healthy and keep a strong immune system. And by the way, humans don't get a strong immune system from having bovine colostrum. Humans only assimilate human colostrum from a mom, from a human mom, but not just any old human mom, their human mom. So there's no points of separation, but there's different points of separation, and many of them when it's a cow, so it's bovine. To begin with, one of those points of separation is adults are actually taking the colostrum. The first part that goes wrong is it's bovine colostrum, so it doesn't work at all for a human. The second part is it's adults that are taking the colostrum, adults that are buying and purchasing the colostrum, thinking it's helping them. It doesn't work that way. It's impossible. It has to be a baby that takes the colostrum. That's how the body's designed. But a human baby can't receive anything from bovine colostrum. It would have to be human colostrum from the baby's mommy. See how many problems there are right there? But yet, colostrum companies are exploding right now. It's evil. The process is evil for sure. And the only thing that makes sense and why they're doing it is it makes money. And sure, companies will get people to say, oh, it makes me feel better. My nails are stronger. I feel better. I have more energy. Meanwhile, crack into it and scratch the surface. They're doing green juices. They're taking care of themselves in different ways. They're getting more sleep. They're exercising. They're taking 20 other supplements. They're getting off of processed foods. Oh, and yeah, they're using the colostrum. So methylene blue is going to challenge colostrum and all the other trendy supplements. It's going to split the penny. And at least it doesn't rob colostrum from baby calves. One of the things about methylene blue, which is interesting, it's the consciousness of someone. They know it's probably not a good thing to take. Each person that tries it knows it could be a problem. It may be toxic. It's probably not a good thing. Most likely it doesn't help the body. Everybody that first tries it is spooked. Bottom line, there's no one that tries methylene blue, at the start at least, right off the running, that isn't spooked. And this is before they even look into their mouth afterwards. This is before they even look at their tongue. They know they're playing around with some type of chemical concoction. At least they know enough if somebody's actually looking into it and wanting to try it. And that spookiness is something that interests people. It entices people. Just like when a whole bunch of people are at a party and they're passing around something like acid. They're spooked. They know it's not good. They know it's not a good idea. They know they shouldn't be doing it. They see everybody else doing it. They don't want to look like the odd man out. And that's another thing. Methylene Blue is going to cause a lot of peer pressure. It's eventually going to take off to such a degree, everybody's going to think they have to do it. And you're not going to become popular unless you do it. Another thing is, the more mysterious Methylene Blue is, and the more controversy Methylene Blue creates, the more interesting it is, and more people are going to try it just upon that alone. So I'd like to put out a little forewarning to people out there. Methylene Blue is not sea moss. Remember when sea moss just took off and everybody was saying, sea moss, sea moss, sea moss, sea moss, sea moss. Anyone crazy out there? Well, sea moss is no big deal. It's not going to hurt anybody who has a central nervous system problem or an autoimmune disease or cancer or anything else. Sure, people could do sea moss if they want, take it or leave it. But Methylene Blue is not as friendly and benign as a lot of the health trends out there that at least provide a nutrient or something for their body. Methylene Blue is like playing around with sorcery. And when you're somebody that has real symptoms, and what I mean by real symptoms, aches, pains, tremors, shakes, tics, spasms, burning gums, burning tongue, pain in the mouth, pain in the jaw, pain in the back of the head, pain in the neck, blurry eyes, brain fog, severe fatigue, restless legs, numb toes, numb fingers, tingles all over the body, vertigo, dizziness, balance issues, high anxiety, panic attacks, tightness of the chest, and so many more. The last thing you want to do is Methylene Blue. The sad part of Methylene Blue is that so many people are not going to realize, who are actually sick with chronic illness, that it's an irritant. An irritant on the central nervous system, vagus nerves, phrenic nerves, and quite frankly, every nerve. Methylene Blue is a burden on the liver. It doesn't help the liver, burdens the liver, puts a strain on it, intoxicates the liver. Because in the end, Methylene Blue is actually toxic on the body. And anybody with chronic illness doesn't need more toxins, more toxic on the body, on their body. And here's a little tip. If you're somebody that's thinking about Methylene Blue as being an option because you hear something out there that it might be antimicrobial. Remember this, things change when something enters the body. Something that may seem antimicrobial may not be antimicrobial when it enters the body, and it's putting a strain on the very immune system that stops the microbes, that stops the bad bugs, that stops the pathogens. And remember, chlorine dioxide was antimicrobial and is antimicrobial when it's put in some water with some amoebas. But when it enters the body, it's not. That's why people who took chlorine dioxide for years, who were sick with all kinds of chronic illness, never got better, just sicker. Because you can't dump something harsh like that inside the body and expect it to work unless you drown your body out completely with it, and it still won't work. And the same thing with Methylene Blue. You'd have to excessively take it. And even if you excessively took it, it still wouldn't kill off the microbes. It's not antiviral. It's not antibacterial. It's not going to kill off all the microbes, even if you took excessive dosages with it and filled your body with it. It just doesn't work. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Check out medicalmedium.com for more and more free information. Medical Medium book series has helped heal millions worldwide. People who rose out of the ashes of chronic illness with this information. People who healed when nothing else could heal them. Real healing stories, real people. And keep in mind, Medical Medium information is free. No subscription fees on medicalmedium.com. No advertisers, no commercials on this podcast. Free listening, free, and healing. Yeah, I'm like sick of being sick. I know. I'm online right now. I'm just looking for anything. I'm looking for some answer. Yeah, been to my 20th doctor. I've tried everything. I've done everything. I have a whole cupboard full of supplementation. I got everything in here. Oh my God, I got creatine. I got whey powder. I mean, I don't know what I'm missing. I got fish oil. Yeah, I got pearl powder. I got colostrum. I'm taking it all. I mean, I'm trying to fix myself. Well, look at this. Methylene Blue. Oh, jeez, I'm just gonna order this. They say it's like the Holy Grail or something. Yeah, where am I? I'm waiting in the doctor's office. I'm in the waiting room. Okay, I just placed my order. It's gonna show up tomorrow. What do they say it does? Well, I've just been watching this influencer, and he says it works great. I'm looking at his video now. There's a playbook in health and wellness, and that playbook doesn't involve the chronically ill. It wasn't always like this. Years back, the health industry, self-absorbed now. It's self-serving, at least for the most part. It's turned into a selfish beast, a selfish monster. It's a Frankenstein of influencers completely obsessed with themselves and not focused on the things that matter, like the chronically ill. It's about all fun and games now, and it's about a race to the top and creating more and more distance from the chronic sickness and the chronic illness so many people suffer from. And everybody new in the game wants a piece of the action. They want all the traction. They want to see as many people as they can have reactions. They want their voice heard. But what about the chronically ill? What about the people who have been through hell? What about them? Oh, I get it. They're just supposed to open up their pockets and purses and do a coin spill. That's why nothing's for free in the health world. A world where the advertisers pay the big bucks. And the people with chronic illness are just shit out of luck. And the biggest influencers think they're all schmucks. And that's what they all think about the chronically ill. But the truth is, the people that are sick and unwell are smarter than that. They've been there. They're seasoned. They tried everything. They're experienced. And they've done that. And they're spiritual people. Profoundly spiritual. They're no dummies. They're no idiots. They see what's going on out there. They see the games, the bullshitters, and the hypocrites. They know people lie. They know they're heartless out there. They know they don't care about them, whether they live or die. But they should care about the people who are sick with chronic illness, because those are the people that have soul, compassion. Their lives have meaning. They've been around the block many times, to heaven and back to earth, to heaven again and back to earth again. They're the people who should be given the highest respect.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite. Only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.